So this is the Unit 6 test review. I just want to make sure, let me get a piece of paper. I have all these papers over here. You can oversee over here. All right, so I want to make sure that there's enough room to do all of these problems if we may need an extra space. So in this case, for number one, it looks like we kind of do. We're going to go ahead and go through all of these, and then please email me if you have any questions. All right, so 64-foot tall building casts a shadow. The distance from the top of the building to the tip of the shadow is 67 feet, and they have that here. Find the length of the shadow to the nearest tenth. They already told you that the building is 64 feet tall, so that's that. You're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, so we do this distance right here is our c value or our hypotenuse. So we can put that in as 67 squared. A and b, doesn't really matter which one. I'll say 64 squared plus b squared. We don't know what that is, or you could make that x. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as you know that we don't know it. All right, so 64, I'm going to put that in my calculator. 64 squared, I get 4,096. 4,096 plus b squared equals 67 squared. I get 4,489. 4,489. They did say they wanted me to round to the nearest tenth here. Okay, so I know I'm going to subtract 4,096 from both sides. B squared is going to be equal to 4,489 minus 4,096. And you get 393. And you are going to take the square root of both sides, okay? Because we're trying to get b by itself. So let's take the square root, that's the wrong one, square root of 393. They want you to round to the nearest tenth. In this case, the nearest tenth is right here, the 8. This 2 is not 5 or more, so this 8 will stay the same. Your answer is going to be 19.8. for the length of the shadow, okay? 19.8 feet. All right, and that's how you get it using the Pythagorean theorem. All right. All right, so the area of a rectangle, number 2, the area of a rectangle is 48 feet squared, and the length of the rectangle is 2 more than the width, okay? So we know that it says the length of the rectangle, the length is equal to 2 plus w, or w plus 2, actually, more than, I usually like, you have to flip them around, but w plus 2, okay? So we know the width is just w. So we know that the width is w, and then length is 2 more than the width. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. If the area, okay, you do need to know the area of a rectangle. You need to know the formula for the area of a rectangle. That's definitely important. Yes, so the area of a rectangle is length times width. And in this situation, it says our area is actually 48. The length is going to be w plus 2, and our width is just w, okay? Because we don't, we know that our length is 2 more feet than the width, and then the width, we don't really know it either, okay? So we have that situation, and I'm gonna put this on another sheet of paper, just so we have room. 48 equals w plus 2 times w. I'm going to distribute here. This becomes 48 equals w squared plus 2w, okay? So now when you have a squared value, for the most part, you're just going to get everything equal to 0 so that you can factor. Okay. So this becomes 0 equals w squared plus 2w minus 48. Now, I always like to say same or different. The last number being negative means that you're going to have one positive, one negative. Okay, that last number being negative means that you're going to have one positive, one negative. That's what I mean by different. If the last number is positive, you're going to have the same. They're going to have both positives or both negatives. Okay, and then when you have different, you're subtracting to get the middle. So what are your multiples? Okay, your multiples of 48 that subtract to give you 2. Look, seems like 6 and 8. Okay, 6 times 8 is 48. And if you subtract 6 and 8, you get 2. The bigger number is going to be the same sign as this. So 8 is here, 6 is there. Okay. So when you have your factors, now you'll have your answers. W plus 8 equals 0, and then W minus 6 equals 0. Subtract 8. Your width is either going to be, looks like negative 8, add 6. Width can also be positive 6. Now, here's the thing when you're talking about shapes in real life. If your shapes in real life, like in this case, it's a area of a rectangle, okay? If your shapes in real life, with your shapes in real life, your width or length cannot be negative. So this cannot be your answer. Your answer has to be positive when you're talking about lengths and shapes, or when you're talking about, like, you know, distances or something like that. We're talking about a real life situation, you're not going to have a negative length. So, or width. So in this situation, 6 is your answer. Okay, 6 is your width. But they're asking you for the dimension. So we do have 6 as our width. We have 6. But in this case, if you replace W with 6, we said that the length is 2 feet more. So 6 plus 2 becomes 8. So your dimensions would be 6 by 8 or 8 by 6. Okay, 6 by 8 would be your dimensions. Okay, length, or maybe 8 by 6, depends on whatever they're asking you for. I guess your length by your width. Okay, 8 by 6. Okay, whatever, whichever. Your length is 8 and your width is 6 feet. Length is 8 feet. All right. All right, so let's look here. All right, so let's look at the next problem. Gives you 9x squared plus 5 equals negative 18x. And of course, if you have the x squared, you're going to get everything equal to 0. So I'm going to add 18x to both sides. Okay, so this becomes 9x squared plus 18x plus 5 equals 0. Okay, I put the squared, I put the x, and I put the number all next to each other. I couldn't combine them because one has x squared, one has x, one doesn't have anything. Now I need to circle, slide, divide, or I need to factor this. So I'm going to x squared plus 18x. 9 times 5 should give me 45 equals 0. Okay. What are your multiples of 45 that add? Same or different? You're saying same because the last number is positive. Both of those are going to be positive. So it's going to be x plus, okay? When I say same, I mean both of these signs are going to be the same sign, both pluses or both minuses, depending on what this middle number is. In this case, it's plus, so you know they're going to be both plus. If this is positive here and these are negative, it's negative right here, then it's both negative, okay? So if they're positive here, both same. And in this problem, we had a negative at the end. That means one's positive, one negative. In this case, what are your multiples of 45 that add to give you 18? Let's think. 45 divided by, let's try 5. And we know 45 divided by 5 is 9, and 9 plus 5 is 14. So that's not going to work. What about 45 divided by 3, maybe? It's 15. Good. So 45 divided by 3 is 15, and 15 plus 3 is 18. So that's good for us. 3 and 15. Now don't forget to divide by that 9 here. Okay. So 3 divided by 9, if you have to put that in your calculator, 3. And now, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but okay, this is the sign symbol, okay? This is the approved calculator for this course. And you can use it all the way up into pre-calc. But it is a very, very good investment, about $12 at Walmart or Target, okay? If you push this button for, instead of divide, if you want your answer to be a decimal, then you would just push the regular divide. But if you want your answer to be a fraction, which we do, or we want to simplify the fraction, then you're just going to push this little ABC button right above sign, okay? I'm going to push it. And you're going to divide by 9. Your answer comes out to be a fraction, 1/3, okay? But if you did it the other way, it would actually be a decimal, okay? Let me try it again for my 15 divided by 9 situation. 15 divided by 9, push enter. 1 2/3, we do not want a mixed number, so I'm going to push second and push that AB again. It gives me this weird little thing, but when I push enter, it gives me my answer as a improper fraction, 5/3. So this now becomes x plus 5/3 when it's simplified, okay? When you have a simplified fraction, we can move or simplify it, we can move it. So this now becomes 3x plus 1, 3x plus 5, and that equals 0. Okay, and they want you to solve, of course. So now I don't have any more room, so I'm going to go here. 3x plus 1 and 3x plus 5 equals 0. I'm going to first set this one equal to 0. And then I'm going to set this one equal to 0. Okay, so it looks like you're going to have two answers here, of course. All right, so subtract 1 first. This becomes 3x equals -1. Divide by 3. X is going to be equal to -1/3. Over here, I'm going to subtract 5. Divide by 3. X is going to be equal to -5/3. Okay, so we have the two different answers, and that's it. So our answer here is x is equal to -1/3, and x is also equal to -5/3. Okay, that is your answer there for the number 3. Okay. All right, so here we are factoring. Okay, if you are factoring with a plus, we usually, with the cube, this is a cube, these are cubed values. We're going to use SOAP. Usually SOAP is the acronym we use when we're doing the cubed values, okay? And your SOAP is going to be same, opposite, always positive, okay? So you're usually going to use A squared, AB, B squared, okay? Same, opposite, always positive is going to be plus, opposite, this is always positive. And that's what you're going to use for when you're factoring a cube, okay? And they just want you to factor that. So your A represents the cubed root of the 125, okay? So whatever number's here, what is the cubed root of that? 125. So you can put that in your calculator. You can find that in your calculator. There's a little glare when I have my light on here. All right, so for my cube root, I'd push second, and first of all, you push cube because you want a cube, and then second, and then this little button right here. So second, and then the little up button, which gives you like a little X with the root, but the 3 in front means it is a cube root of 125, and then you push enter. So the cube root of 125 is 5. Okay, so your A is 5. And then the cube root of 27, x cubed. So 3 cube root of 27, you should know is 3, but I wanted to kind of show you how to do it. 3x, okay? So the cube root, remember that's what you're doing when you're finding A and B. Cube root of 27 x cubed is 3x. Okay, so your A is 5 and then your b is 3x. So when you're using this formula here, you're going to put this for a and that for b. Okay? It's not a lot of room there, so I'm going to put it on the sheet of paper. Of course, like I said, a squared, b squared. Same, that means same sign is positive. Opposite, always positive. Okay? And the middle of our problem has a positive in the middle. So the middle of our problem has a positive in the middle. So when you say same, you're saying the same sign, opposite sign, and then always positive there. So we said A represents 5. Again, I'm going to write it here. A is 5, and B is going to be equal to 3x. So let's put them in. A is 5. 5 plus 3x is our B. And then A squared is going to be 5 squared, which is 25, minus AB. What is 5 times 3x? 15x. Plus, now how do you do 3 squared? 3x squared. 3x squared. Then it'll be 3 squared, which is 9, and then x squared. So this becomes 9x squared. Okay? And that is your answer. They just want you to factor it. You have to know the rules for factoring a cube, and that's it. So that is your answer there. Okay? 5 plus 3x, and then 25 minus 15x plus 9x squared. That'll be your answer for number 4. All right, so factoring your squared values here, all you have to do is take the square root of both, okay? And then one positive, one negative. So what's the square root of 25x squared? 5x minus the square root of 4y squared is 2y. So 5x minus 2y, 5x plus 2y. That'll be your factor for a perfect square, okay? Same thing here, factor completely, take the square root of both sides. Oh, first and foremost, before you factor completely, what you had to do here too is here it didn't work because it didn't have a greatest common factor. You have to take out what's common first. And in this case, it looks like 5 and u are common, okay? So here, if you can divide something by both of them, it needs to come out. So you know 125 u cubed, if you break that down, it becomes what? I want to say 5 times, like, what is it? 125 divided by 5 is 25. So basically, it's 5 times 25 times u times u times u. And then 5u b squared is 5 times u times b times v. So they're saying your greatest common factor has to come out first. 5 is common, okay? We know that's common. It's in both of them. And then u is common. There's a u here and a u here, at least one. Okay? So anything else common? I see a 25 and a u here. Nope. And then I see only 2 b's left over here. So when I take out my greatest common factor, which is 5u, what is left over? 25 u squared minus b squared. Okay, 2 b's are left over at the bottom. So now I can take the square root of this and factor. So let me do that. So I have 5u and I have 25u squared minus b squared. Okay, and this is number 6. So now I have this and this. I want to factor. I'm going to take the square root of both. Square root of 25u, I know it's 5u. Square root of b squared is v. And then it's going to be 5u minus b, 5u plus b. This is my answer. Okay, but I had to take out my greatest common factor first, which was 5u. So this is what's happening there for number 6. All right, so for number 7, they want me to factor. I first have to see if there's any common factors there. I don't think so. Any common factors between 36, 60, and 25? Doesn't look like it. So let me try circle, slide, divide. This looks like it's going to be a huge number. X squared minus 60x plus 36 times 25, 900. Okay. I'll divide 900 by 30. See what I get? 30. So it looks like multiples of 900 that add to give you 60. Remember, this is same, last number same, and they're both going to be negative. X minus, okay? Last number is positive, so they're going to be the same sign, and the middle number determines what that sign is, negative and negative, and we said 30 and 30, okay? Now, don't forget that you had to divide by this 36. So this now becomes X minus, let's put it in our calculator, 30, and I'm going to push this because I want my answer to be a fraction, divided by 36. It looks like 5 over 6. And that's going to happen for both of them because they're the same exact numbers. Okay, and then when it becomes a fraction, after you simplify, move it in front. So this will be, your answer is going to be 6x minus 5 and 6x minus 5 when you factor. Okay, or you can also write 6x minus 5 squared. Both of those are fine. Okay. All right, so for number 8, we are, same thing, we're factoring, but we're circle, slide, divide here. The only difference here is that you have this little extra b at the end. It really won't cause a difference when you're factoring though. So you're going to have, first and foremost, let me write this. So it's going to be a squared minus 11 ab plus 3 times 10 becomes 30b squared. Okay, multiples of 30. Remember, 30 is positive, so it's going to be the same sign. Both of them are going to be negative. So you're going to have an a here minus something, a minus something. The only difference here is that you're going to have a b at the end. Okay, when you have that b squared at the end, we didn't have them before, but we did have them here, but you're going to have b inside the factors. So multiples of 30 add to give you 11. 3 divided by, 3 and 10. Okay, that's 1. 3 and 10, and that's not going to work because 3 plus 10 is 13. 30 divided by 6. 5 and 6. That's good. So you'll have 5 and 6. We're going to divide by 3. Don't forget that. Okay, so this one can't simplify. 5 divided by 3, you cannot simplify, so you got to move it. So this becomes 3a minus 5. 6 divided by 3, of course, is 2. So this now becomes a minus 2b. This is your answer. Okay. Good. Hope that's not too dark. Let me see. All right, so here it says factor by grouping. Of course, when you're factoring by grouping, you are going to kind of bracket off the two. So you're going to take the greatest common factor between those. Looks like it's between VW, that's V times W, and 3V is 3 times V. So these looks like they're common. Okay. So V is common. What is left over? W plus, because I keep the sign here, 3. Okay. Now, when they're both negative, whatever comes out is negative, and then what stays in is positive. Okay. So in this case, they're both negative. But you have 7W, that becomes 7 times W, of course. And 21 is 7 times 3. And the 7s are common. Okay, so whatever comes out, like I said, whatever's common comes out as negative. So whatever is left over inside is now positive. W plus 3 is left over. So do you see that they have the same W plus 3s? So when they do, you put that in the front. So W plus 3 comes. When it comes out, it basically cancels out for both of those. Okay, so W plus 3 cancels out, came in front. What was left over now is, what is left over now is V minus 7. That is your factoring by grouping. Okay. All right, so here, factor this. We're going to do the same exact thing we did kind of up here, but we don't have to circle, slide, divide. Here, same or different, we say different because the last number is negative, the bigger number is going to be negative. So it's going to be x minus, x plus, and the only difference here is the y at the end. Okay, when you have the y squared at the end, you have to have the little y here. Multiples of 40, that's subtract to give you 3. When you say different, you have to subtract to get the middle. When you say plus, like you did here, you have to add to get the middle. So what are your multiples of 40? That's subtract to give you 3 plus b. I know 40 divided by, I would say 8 and 5. Yeah, 8 times 5 is 40. 8 minus 5 is 3. So the bigger number is going to be negative. That means 8 is negative, 5 is positive. And that is your answer. Okay. The only difference here is at the bottom, the end. All right, so how I would rewrite this: negative 36 x cubed y to the 4th plus 17 x to the 4th y to the 5th. I would divide that. I'd write it like that. Divided by negative 9 x to the 4th y to the 5th. Okay, I would write it like this first. Then I would split it up. I make it, let's write this here. So this is for number 11. I would say negative 36 x cubed y to the 4th over negative 9 x to the 4th y to the 5th plus 17 x to the 4th y to the 5th over negative 9 x to the 4th y to the 5th. So everything got, see, this one got one and this one got one. So I split them up into them both. So 36, negative 36 divided by negative 9 now became positive 4. Okay, 36 divided by 9, you can put in your calculator if you want. Negative 36 divided by negative 9, and we get positive 4. Okay, so positive 4. There, you know you're going to subtract. Okay, you're going to subtract 3 minus 4, and then as you see, there's more 4s at the bottom. So there's going to be 1 4 left over at the bottom. Okay, and then here, same thing, 4 minus 5, but then there's more y's at the bottom, 5 of them, and there's 4 here. So basically that will become 5 minus 4, which is 1, but the y will be left over at the bottom. Plus, doesn't look like you can subtract there. So instead of plus, you can't divide. Okay, 17 divided by 9 doesn't simplify. So when you have that negative at the bottom, I'm just going to, instead of make it plus, I'm going to change that to negative. Okay, because that makes the whole fraction basically negative. So 17 over 9, can't simplify that. But the x minus 4s looks like they cancel out, and the y to the 5th cancel out. So x to the 4th cancels out, y to the 5th cancel out, and that's all you have at the end there. And that's it. That's all you have to do. I have simplified them. Okay, but I had to separate them first. All right. Okay, that's what we got there. We got 4 over xy minus 17 over 9. And that's all. All right, so they want you to multiply here, which is basically this multiplying this binomial by this trinomial. You're not going to FOIL it. It's not called FOIL. It's the same concept where you multiply this times every single thing, then you multiply that by everything single thing. Okay, I'll write it out over here just to make sure we have enough room. This is number 12. So 5x minus 7 and 6x squared plus 5x minus 2. I'm going to multiply 5x times 6x squared, 5x times 5x, and 5x times negative 2. So 5x times 6x squared becomes 30x cubed. 5x times 5x is positive 25x squared. And 5x times negative 2 is negative 10x. Okay. And then I'm multiplying negative 7 times 6x squared. That becomes negative, I'll bring it down here a little bit. Negative what? 42x squared. Negative 7 times 5 is negative 35x. And negative 7 times negative 2 is positive 14. Okay. So those all should basically be on the same level. I had to bring it down here because it was kind of, it was a lot. So now I'm going to combine like terms. Positive 25x squared and negative 42. So basically 25 minus 42 is negative 17. So we'll have 30x cubed. I just brought that down. And then that becomes negative 17x squared when I combine like terms. And I have negative 10x and negative 35x. That becomes negative 45x plus 14. Okay, this doesn't have a partner, that doesn't have a partner, had to stay the same. I combine those, not combine these, but I combine these two, combine these two. That is my answer. Okay. So my answer here looks like 30x cubed minus 17x squared minus 45x plus 14. Okay, I'm gonna combine terms. All right, next. So squaring the binomial, basically when you square something, you just multiply it by itself. 4x minus 5y and 4x minus 5y. Here you would FOIL. 4x times 4x, 16x squared. 4x times 5x, negative 5x, negative 20x, y. 4x times negative 5y. Negative 5y times 4x is negative 20xy again. And negative 5x times negative 5y times negative 5y is positive 25y squared. Okay, combine those two. So it becomes 16x squared. We're going to combine these middle two. That becomes negative 40xy plus 25y squared. Okay, that is our answer. All right, we're going to FOIL this one. 9x times 9x is 81x squared. 9x times 2y is 18xy. Negative 2 times 9 is negative 18xy. And negative 2 times positive 2, negative 2y times positive 2y is negative 4y squared. These middle cancel out. Okay, 18x squared xy and negative 18xy cancel out. This now becomes 81x squared minus 4y squared. Okay. All right, so here it's really, relatively simple. The only issue here is this negative changes the sign of everything here. Everything else stays the same. So this right here, 5m squared minus 7m plus 7. Now this becomes plus, because it's a negative, it becomes plus 3m squared minus 10m minus 4. Everything else stays the same. Plus 2m squared plus 7m minus 5. Okay, so everything else stays the same. And then you're just going to combine like terms. All right, so now you're going to combine like terms. You have 5m squared and 2m squared. Oh, and 3m squared. Okay, 5 plus 3 is 8 plus 2 is 10. So you have 10m squared, negative 7m, negative 10m, and positive 7m. Okay, looks like that'll be negative 17 and then plus 7, that'll be 10. So negative 10m, and then 7 -4 and -5. 3, 7 minus 4 is 3, +3, or is that negative? No, it's -7. No, +7, I'm sorry. +7, -4 is +3, and then -5 is -2. Okay, let me make sure I'm doing that right. 7, okay. -4, -5, and you get -2. Oh, got it right. So that is your answer there once you combine like terms, okay? All right, so for number 16, you are going to calculate the, looks like scientific notation, but your answer, I'm not sure if your answer is going to be a regular number or scientific notation, doesn't say. Let's do both. You can do this in your calculator. I kind of just learned this, so I'm super proud of myself about it. So it'll be 2.4. Now you, for scientific notation, push second, and then that x to the -1, it has an e on top. You're going to push that. So you have the e, and e to the -5 means 10 to the -5 power. Okay, so that's what that e to -5 is. You're going to divide that by 8 times 10, so second, and then that x1 is e to the -8 power. And when you get your answer, it looks like you get 300. We got 300 as our answer, but if we wanted it in standard notation, we move this back where? 1, 2 to the left, okay? So this becomes 3 times 10, okay? And if this is a whole number like 300, we would have a positive exponent. We moved it twice. But if it was like a point something, like a decimal, then it'd be a negative exponent. Okay, it's like if it was a very small number. In this case, it's a bigger number, it's 300. If it was a decimal, then we move it and then it'd be a negative exponent. So in this case, this would be the 300 was the answer, and 300 and times 10 to the second power is the scientific notation of that answer. All right. So here, I'm going to put this on a separate sheet of paper. Make sure we have enough room. So this is number 17, okay? And this is w cubed v to the -1 all over 4y to the 4th raised to the -3 power, and then you're multiplying it by wy squared, okay? So first things first, if you have a negative exponent on the very outside, flip the inside to make it positive. So that's what we're going to do, okay? So this 4y to the 4th now is at the top, and w cubed v to the -1, I did not change anything, okay? Whatever you see here, I put at the bottom. Whatever was at the bottom, I put at the top. What that did is make this outside exponent positive, okay? And then wy squared. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring this to the top. Why? Because I want this to be positive. Can't have any negative exponents in your answer. So now this is going to be 4y to the 4th v all over w cubed, okay? I'm leaving this alone. Not doing anything to that. So now everything gets a cube. 4 cubed. And when so this becomes cubed, this now multiplies, that becomes y12 because it's 4 times 3, and v cubed all over, and then of course that's w, 3 times 3 is 9, w to the 9th, okay? And you're going to, what is 4 cubed? 4 raised to the 3rd power is 64. So this now becomes 64 y to the 12th v cubed all over w to the 9th. And remember that this is wy squared, basically over 1. Okay? So if there are 9 here and 1 here, this now becomes w to the 8th. And that, it cancels out with that one. There's 9 here and there's 1 here. The 1 cancels out, and now it's only w to the 8th. But these two, you have to add them because they're both over the top, so you're multiplying. So your answer when you're done is 64 y to the 14th. Okay, I added these two. V cubed, I left it alone, all over W to the 8th power. There's nothing else we can do there. Okay, no negative exponents, and we're done putting things together that need to be together. And that's using your exponent rules. Okay, now let's look at number 18. So that was number 17. Number 18 is the same situation. We have to flip, we have the negative exponent on the very outside. Let's flip that inside. 3x to the 5th over 5x squared, all raised to now but positive 2. Okay, can't simplify those, but you see those here, you can subtract. There's 5 x's up top and only 2 at the bottom. So 5 minus 2 is 3. So this becomes 3 over 5 x cubed. Okay, so basically I subtract 5 minus 2. And remember how that works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's over 2 x's at the bottom. So 1 cancel out, 2 cancel out. There are 3 left over. That's how I got my x cubed there. Okay, this is my thought. I like doing this little thought. This is my thought bubble of what happened with those x's. So now that's how you got x cubed at the top. So don't forget that you're squaring it. So this now becomes 3 squared, and then multiply these two, x to the 6th, all over 5 squared. 3 squared is 9, x to the 6th over 5 squared is 25. That's my answer. Can't simplify those. All right, so now let's rewrite this without an exponent. We're going to, if it has a negative exponent, it goes to the bottom to become positive. So this becomes 1 over negative 5 to the positive 1. So it's basically just 1 over negative 5. That's my answer. Okay. Simplify here. 5 divided by 35, you're going to divide. 5 divided by 35, our answer is going to be a fraction 1 over 7. So I'm simplifying this. Okay, 1 over 7. I don't have to put the 1 up there unless it's alone. There's 4 d's up here and only 1 here. So this now becomes d cubed because I subtracted. Okay, and this e to the 6 and e to the 4. Now that's e squared. 6 minus 4 is 2. So I'm going to have e squared up top, and that is my answer. Okay. The only time you'll put a 1 with these, you won't. The only time you'll put a 1 up top is if you have nothing up top. Then you have a 1. But unless that happens, then that's why we don't see the 1. Okay? Because there's other things up there. All right, distribute here. Negative 5 times negative 6 is 30. Plus negative 5 times 7 is negative 35. That's why I'm going to put negative 35 minus 8p equals, I'll distribute here, 2p minus 10 minus 2. Combine like terms, 30 minus 35 is negative 5 minus 8p. I'm just bringing that down. 2p, and then I'm combining like terms here, negative 12. Negative 10 and negative 2, negative 12. I'm getting my p's on the same side, negative 2p, and then I'm getting rid of that 5. So I want my p's there together and my numbers together. Okay? So negative 8p and negative 2p is negative 10p. And then negative 12 plus 5, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, negative 7. So if I divide by negative 10, p is equal to negative 7 divided by negative 10 becomes positive 7 over 10. Okay, that is my answer there for p. Okay. All right, so we have those two. And last page, here you go. All right, last page. All right, they just want you to simplify. Go ahead and distribute. Negative 5x minus or plus, because negative 7 times negative 3y is positive 21y. Negative 7 times 6x is negative what? 42x. And then plus 7y. Combine like terms. Okay. Negative 42 and negative 5 become negative 47x. Okay. Plus 21y plus 7y is 28y. That cannot combine unlike terms. One has an x, one has a y, you gotta leave them separate. All right, so here it says if a sub d equals 800 minus 15d, find a of 6, a sub 6. So basically here, all you're doing is replacing d with 6 here, okay? 800 minus 15 times 6, that's basically what they want. So I can just throw that in my calculator. 800 minus 15 times 6 is 710. So your answer is 710 for the top. Now they're saying this, if A of D is 425, find D. So AD, so this whole thing here, they're saying is 425. So they're saying 425 is equal to 800 minus 15D. Okay, so all I did was replace A sub D with 425 here, and then everything else kind of stayed the same. Now I can subtract 800 from both sides. This becomes 425 minus 800, negative 375 equals negative 15D. Divide by negative 15. So negative 375 divided by negative 15, and you get positive 25. So your D is equal to positive 25. That's how you get that. Okay? 2 more problems. So for this one, you're going to, it says it's squared, so you have, everything has to be squared. And you know with these, so you're going to square negative 5 squared. You're going to multiply these two, so it's going to be x to the 10. Multiply those, y to the 4. Multiply this, z to the 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, and this y to the 4th z, I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay, I left that alone, just left it outside. All right, negative 5 squared, you should know negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Okay, x doesn't have any partners, so I'll leave x alone, x to the 10. It does look like y and y here, since you're multiplying, you'd add those. That becomes y now. 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay, remember when you're raising a power to a power, you multiply, but when you have the same base, you add the exponents. Here is a 6, 6, and a 1. You add those, that becomes 7. This is your answer. Okay, you have to remember your exponent rules. These exponent rules are not easy. They are not easy. There is so much to remember. But remembering your rules are important. And then finally here, multiply 6y times 7y, 42y squared. 6y times negative 2, negative 12y. 5 times 7, positive 35y. And 5 times negative 2, negative 10. Okay, combine like terms in the middle. This becomes 42y squared. And then you have positive 35 minus 12, that becomes 23, positive 23y minus 10. Okay, they just want you to multiply. That is your answer when you multiply. All right, and that right there is unit 6 test review. Okay, that's the unit 6 test review. The key is on your modules assignment tab in Canvas if you want to look at the key. Okay.